For once, I gave myself way too much time to get ready for a show. Hi, guys. Welcome. This is Monkey in the Morning. I'm Monk, and we're here to laugh and talk and play. Hope you guys have been well. Um, did I do a show last night? Honest to God, don't remember if I did one yesterday. I should probably look that up. I was sitting here, I'm getting the show ready, and I'm on Twitter. I'm like, I feel like I should have seen all of these stories that are popping up there, 12 and 15 hours old. I'm like, did I just completely space all of yesterday? Did I just like not know the world happened around me? And apparently, yeah, that's the case. Um, wow. So we're here now, and I hope that's a good thing. And we're gonna talk about some shit that's irritating me. We're gonna start with the fire at the governor's mansion there in Pennsylvania. Whew, dude, thankfully nobody was hurt. Some jackass breaks into the governor's estate. I don't know if it's actually called the mansion there or because I saw it called the residence. Maybe they don't want people to be like, hey, wait, mansions. But yeah, so some fucking weirdo breaks into the governor's place and sets fire to it while the governor is home. He's there with his family. And the argument is now which side deserves blame for it, is what I'm seeing. Where the hell is my story? There it is. And it's just weird to me that the the two sides are like, no, he's a Republican, no, he's a Democrat. How about just the guy's an asshole? I don't know if he's left or right. But is that really your win? Is that it was the other guy's side who did it? How about the entire violence thing needs to stop? Can we get to that? Can we just get to where, hey, we can point to who started the violence and who's pushing it more, but I don't think it much matters. I don't think it much matters who's pushing it more than the fact that it's being pushed, that it's being acceptable, that political violence is in some way okay. Who's the governor? Not Ben Shapiro. God damn it, Josh Shapiro out there in Pennsylvania. The guy who did it, he has some. Here's the picture from the thumbnail. The guy who did it has some anti-Trump stuff, some anti Biden stuff, which being anti-Biden doesn't mean he's not left. I don't think it matters which side this guy was on. What does matter is the violence and who's pushing the violence. And in that case, you guys are going to be surprised by this. I blame the Democrats and the media. I really do. And the reason I say it doesn't matter who commits the violence is because these are the people who are saying that it's okay for this stuff to happen. Oh, when it happens to them or it's something major like Trump getting shot at, they'll give you some words of, oh, I mean, political violence is never okay. We do not support this political violence of that Nazi piece of shit who steals from the people and is just trying to enrich himself. We do not agree with violence against that man. See what I'm getting at? The whole rhetoric is what has to change. I don't give a shit who this guy was. Fuck him. I hope he ends up under a fucking There were children in this house. Whether you like Josh Shapiro or not, his fucking children, minor children, were in this house. He's got 4 children. 2 of them are adults. The story says they don't know if the adults were home, and they're saying that Shapiro is refusing to say how many of his children were there, which makes sense to me. I wouldn't either. Some crazy dude just tried to set fire to your fucking house, and the media's like, how many of your kids were home? But the rhetoric is what is causing all of this. This is what I told you guys with January 6th. The real impetus for January 26th, the violence that happened there, it wasn't right wing. It was from 6 months of the media saying political violence is the way to get things done. It was Kamala saying you have to stay in the streets. It was what is her name? Not Feinstein. I always want to say Feinstein. Maxine Waters saying you got to get in their face if they're out in public. It is this fucking over-the-top political rhetoric, largely coming from the left, more and more from the right, where it's like, these are the worst people ever. They're actual Nazis. They're literal Nazis. And then the press wrings their hand anytime something like this happens. Oh my God, can you believe they clutch those pearls so tight? Oh my God, can you believe? Yeah, I can believe it. You cheer this shit. And I'm going to prove that in just a few minutes. So luckily, nobody was injured during this. They caught the guy. He's being charged with multiple crimes, including attempted murder. He's going away for a long time. And good. He's a piece of shit. I don't care what his politics were. He's a piece of shit. Shapiro hired a guy to victimize him. Really? Really? I don't think that's probably true. I don't think you hire somebody to set a fire in a house you got your children in, because that's a dangerous thing. That can get away from you real quick. But I saw this story right after I saw Miss Taylor Lorenz, and I hate this fucking bitch. I can't believe she's still a thing. It actually offends me that she is still a thing. The news, all right, this woman has never done anything good in her life. She's never done anything good in journalism or politics. It's not like she's ever broke a story. She broke Watergate. No, all she's ever done is been a lying whore who seeks attention and pumps up some of the worst people in the world. She was one of the Keffels supporters. She's one of the ones like, can you believe how mean they're being to this absolute shit person? She's the one that, if you guys remember, goes on MSNBC to cry about how bad it is to be doxxed. And we all made fun of it and laughed at it because it was funny as shit. She fake cried. It was so great. And then she goes out there and doxes Libs of TikTok. Goes to Libs of TikTok's family's house. She went to like her aunt and her uncle and like, we got to find out who this bitch is. When it's her, oh no, yeah, don't dox me. It's so, you won't believe what women have to put up with on the internet. Now watch me go be a horrible bitch to this other chick. And then right after all of this, she goes out there. The MSNBC interview of her where she gives this crying, it was done to be very sympathetic to her. It's not MSNBC's fault, and don't make me fucking defend those people. It's not their fault. You're a bad fake crier and that you're a hypocrite and a horrible twat of a woman. It's not their fault. But she blamed MSNBC for the pushback she got over that stuff. They made me look bad. Nah, sweetie. They were trying to make you look good. And she attacked the reporter over it. That's who we're dealing with here. Well, CNN, in their infinite wisdom, there's a documentary that has come out. It should have aired last night because it said it was airing on Sunday. It's about extremism and stuff in America, and it's going to surprise you that the majority of their trailer on it, there's a 12-minute, what do they call it? A preview, a 12-minute preview. And almost all of it is about how bad the right wing is. Because of course, that's where all the political violence comes from. And in this thing, the guy, I don't remember this clip being in the preview, but the guy, you can see his fat shoulder right there that filmed this part. He put this up on Twitter, as well as a link to the full preview. This is a preview of a documentary. Man, advertising's gotten weird. But he put this up, and this is his little sit down with Taylor Lorenz. I do not understand why you would talk to this woman in regards to political violence and have the pleasant conversation that we see here. Because the whole reason they're talking to her is that she came out hard and wet for Luigi Mangione. She is one of the Luigi fan club. She's like, he murdered somebody. I want to have his babies. And she's going to describe for us why that is. What it is about a really ugly, there's women in this audience. You guys look at Luigi Mangione. Just go stare at him. Don't think about anything he did. and tell me that if you saw that guy on the street, you would be like, yeah, he's kind of hot. That dude looks like a straight up rapist. He does. And he's got that unibrow. He looks like Bert and Ernie had a child together. He looks like proof that Bert and Ernie are gay and men can have babies, or men puppets can have babies. That dude is ugly as shit. And I get it, women, y'all get all twisted because, oh my God, I don't really look at looks that much. Because you women will overlook a lot of shit. I mean, depending, if you like a guy, that guy could have like a huge neck goiter thing popping out, and you'd be like, I find that so sexy. And you'll mean it. You'll mean it. Because y'all don't think like we do. But the whole thing is, oh, he's so handsome. That dude is ugly as shit. Stop playing. Stop it. Just say you like degenerate men. That would be so much more honest. But she takes it even worse, man. This is probably, I've seen this woman say a lot of really dumb shit, okay? But this one, Mangione is an updated version of the Unabomber. The Unabomber is another one where I've seen women like, he's so attractive. Like, no, he's not. You ever seen pictures of Ted Kaczynski when he's not in the hoodie and the glasses? That dude is, oh, never mind. He's attractive. No, you just like bad people who do bad things. Stop it. It's like men looking at a chick and going, she's really smart. Never had any conversation with her, but she's got like triple D's. And like, she seems so smart. And we don't know how smart she is. She just got big boobs, and we like big boobs. Anyway.
To see these millionaire media pundits on TV clutching their pearls about someone standing a murderer when.
That's right. It's weird to see these billionaires clutching their pearls over us standing a murderer. She's not even like excusing it in any way, right? She's just flat out admitting the dude's a fucking murderer. Like, how dare you be offended by that? You have money. You have money. All he did was murder somebody. You have money. You're the real evil here. Oh, of course CNN has this bitch on, because CNN is desperate to keep the narrative alive. They're desperate to save liberalism from all it's become in the United States. We've got to take, hey, who's the worst fucking example of a reporter that we could put on here to make sure nobody ever takes us seriously again? Well, we've hired all those. Yeah, but of the ones we haven't hired, Taylor, get her. Jesus. Okay.
And this is the United States of America, as if we don't lionize criminals, as if we don't have, we don't stand murderers of all sorts, and we give them Netflix shows.
We give murderers Netflix shows. Do you mean they make shows about murderers? Because that's an entirely different thing. Have I missed something about a Netflix show of a murderer besides the Obamas, right? Like, they didn't give Ted Bundy a show. They did a show about Ted Bundy. Those are we give them shows. No, nobody's upset that there was a documentary made about Luigi Mangione. People are upset because women like you went out there and went, he's so dreamy. And of course he should have murdered that man. Mangione's not Jesse James or Billy the Kid. Yes, exactly. And this ain't the Wild West. Exactly. And if you go back, because we have a problem in this country where we do, and it's not just us, but where she's got a point about lionizing some bad people. But if you go back and like the dime store novels that made people like Billy the Kid and Jesse James famous, they weren't made famous for their utter degeneracy. It was very cleaned up, and they were almost Robin Hood figures in these stories. Jesse James was robbing from the rich railroad magnates and giving it back to the people. That's not what he was doing. He was a fucking racist, pissed off about losing the Civil War, and decided to just steal. He was a bad man. He was a horrible man. But yeah, we have a distorted view of them because of the lying that was done about them. They were never presented as great people. Even with somebody like Al Capone, I mean, this is a guy who went out there and did some good stuff for his community, and that's what got a lot of the attention. He was the gangster with the heart of gold. unless you actually paid attention to the man. They weren't lionized in the way that happened with Mangione, where it's like we all saw what he did. We all saw him cold-bloodedly murder this man. And a whole bunch of you women went, that's my guy. I need to change my panties now. The lionization of that stuff has always been about the lies built around them, not about who they actually were. Because Billy the Kid really had a tiny place in history. Really tiny place in history. The Lincoln County Wars, very small part of the whole Wild West. And his actual reign is very short. He doesn't kill nearly as many people as he's been credited for over the years. And most of it has been the lies to make him seem like a better person. He wasn't a good guy. He was a cold-blooded murderer. And even then, he wasn't as cold-blooded as like Mangione was. There was a reason behind his stuff. He wasn't just a cold-blooded killer. Mangione killed a man because of insurance claims of a different company. He stood up for the little guy. How? What did he change with shooting somebody in the back of the head like a cowardly bitch? He's so dreamy. What's dreamy about that? Seriously, ladies, I need somebody to explain that to me.
There's a huge disconnect between the narratives and angles that sort of mainstream media pushes and what the American public feels.
This is a chick who's worked for the Washington Post and the New York Times. There's a disconnect from what the people and the mainstream media do. Lady, just because you've been drummed out of those places for being an ignorant bitch and, getting them sued and suing them yourself, doesn't make you not part of them. I'm independent now. Yeah, because nobody's left that'll hire you, but you're still repeating the same stupid shit that they do. So stop pretending you're out there being the moral compass for the rest of us. She's just our moral compass, y'all. She worked for WAPO. Yes, she did. She first worked for the New York Times. And then after suing them, she moved on to the Washington Post.
And you see that in moments like this. And I can tell you, I saw the biggest audience growth that I've ever seen.
Yeah, when you go out there and she's talking about her tweets supporting Mangione, and I've seen the biggest audience growth I've ever seen. The internet has allowed, we've talked about this so many times, the internet has allowed crazy people to come together in ways that never could happen before. Because all you have to do is go out there and say something really fucking stupid, and people will rush to you like, yes, yeah, look at Andrew Tate. Most of what Tate says is fucking retarded. But there's a contingent of people out there like, I really love retards. I'm going to follow you into hell and back. Yes, I've heard you brag about robbing people. Here, take my money. Just getting a following, a bigger following, doesn't mean that this resonated with the American people. It means it resonated with a bunch of fucking retards who didn't know you existed and were looking for another retard. They were like, you're my retard queen. This is one of those fallacies they like to talk about. This is an appeal to popularity. I got more followers than ever.
Because people were like, oh, some journalist is actually speaking to the anger that we feel.
You were masturbating publicly about how much you like that guy for killing somebody. That's not the anger they feel. And I want to point out again that a lot of the anger you feel towards these insurance companies and stuff comes from the media. They're the ones who push this narrative. Like the insurance companies are out to get you. And for any, like 30% of claims are denied. Yeah, how many of them should have been denied? They never talk about that. None of them go through. They always will find like one example, like, well, this person clearly should have been covered. They never go to the ones where it's like, Yeah, that's clearly not covered in your policy. They just throw out that 30% number so you get hateful, and then you can masturbate to Luigi like she does. I'll be your Mario. I'll rub that nub thinking about us running, trying to save Peach together.
The women who got her outside court in New York.
So you're going to see women, especially, that feel like, oh my God, right? Like, here's this man who's revolutionary, who's famous, who's handsome, who's young, who's smart. He's a person that seems this morally good man.
There it is. He's famous and handsome and a morally good man. This is a dude who shot another man in the back of the head, somebody that he was in no way related to. It wasn't even his insurance company. So Mangione had some back problems, and supposedly he was being turned down by his insurance company for a operation he was supposed to have or some stupid shit like that. And so he went out and killed the head of a completely different insurance company. And that makes him a morally good man. A morally good man. Now let's go back to where we started this stream. As I said, I don't give a shit where the actual bad people fall on the political spectrum. Loons exist on both sides. But which side is telling me that it's morally good to murder a man in cold blood who had nothing to do with you? Would that be the right? Would that be January 6thers? Or would it be bitches like this? CNN is the one putting this out. CNN is the one playing this clip as a good thing. They're not condemning her in this clip. This is them saying, this is how the people feel. This is their attempt to try to make up for that gap that she was right talking about earlier, just for all the wrong reasons, of the media and where regular people are. This is them trying to reach out to the regular people. The cold-blooded murderer is a moral man. You know, because a different company turned down his claim, reportedly, and so he killed someone else. He's a morally good man. What the fuck is wrong with you, lady? I get it. You're getting old. Those last couple of eggs in there are screaming, knock us up. It's what we're supposed to do. And so you latch on to anything. But morally good man? You know, it's a little bit depressing being somebody who has to watch the news for a living. It's a little bit of a downer sometimes.
Which is hard to find.
Let's watch this in all of its glory.
And that seems this morally good man, which is hard to find.
He's a morally good man, which is hard to find. And they both get a big old laugh out of that. The morally good man. Yeah, you know what? Murder is exceedingly rare. I mean, it's a horrible crime. It affects way more people than it should. But compared to the population, it's a very minor crime. Maybe that's why she's like, it's hard to find a good man. There's so few murderers out here. There's so few murderers. I can only find them in prison. It's weird. The laugh that they share there. She just said morally good man about an asshole who murdered someone. And look, I wouldn't think it was okay if Mangione had killed the head of the insurance company he actually was mad at. But at least then you can follow a line. You can be like, okay, this is why he did it. And instead, everybody else just assigned why he did it. Everybody else just came out like, it's because he didn't get his coverage. And the whole media is like, yeah, the people are mad about this. Yeah, because for more than 2 decades, you've been telling them how screwed they've been by the insurance companies and by the medical community and how everybody's just out to get them. Never highlighting any of the good that comes from medical care. Ever. And they all rushed to basically stand for this guy. Hi, beautiful. Good morning. And it's amazing to me that this was put out as a good thing. This is not them condemning this bitch for what she just said. You can see that in the laugh that he shared with her. Like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. He's so dreamy. He's one of the good men. He's a fucking degenerate. He's a bitch of a man. He didn't even have the balls to shoot him in the face. He was such a bitch. He shot him in the back of the head. Didn't even have the balls to just walk up to him Sirhan style, Jack Ruby style. At least be a man about it. No, he was a complete bitch, and women are like, "Oh my God, he's so dreamy." This is what we've done. This is what we've done to society, and that we've made the worst of men seem like, "Oh my God, he's so dreamy." Thank you, Keldrig. I've yet to see any evidence that Luigi is handsome, smart, or morally good. He's a one-off 2-bit villain from a very special episode of a children's show. Yeah, I can see that. There's nothing about this man that is in any way. I mean, look, I make fun of the people who love Guy Fawkes because Guy Fawkes was an incredible loser. He is the whole reason the plot didn't work out in the first place. He was a bitch of a person. But this is one of those things. It's historical. People don't have the real story. They just see he was a revolutionary. He was a cunt. He really was. But at least that was, a long time ago, and it was against a king. This was against a guy who had nothing to do with him. This makes Guy Fawkes actually look like a hero. Good morning, Nuts. How you doing, sweetheart?
Yeah, I just realized women will literally date an assassin before they swipe right on me. That's where we are. I'm sure you wouldn't like to be.
That's got to feel bad for him. Women will literally swipe right on an assassin. He's not an assassin. Can we not give him that designation? He's just a cold-blooded murderer. He's a pissant murderer.
Compared to a Trump supporter. But some of how people cannot understand why people have sympathies for Mangione strikes me as the same as a lot of media not understanding why people support Trump.
Yep, he just said that. People don't understand why people like Mangione the same way people don't understand why people don't like Trump. Or why people like Trump. For real, CNN, those are the same. Trump and Mangione are the same. What? Here's why I don't understand why people like Mangione. He's ugly, he's cowardly, and he's a murderer. How does that in any way relate to why people don't understand how people like Trump? What I just said about Mangione is objectively true. Most of the stuff that people will tell me why they hate Trump isn't real. They make shit up. There was one the other day. There was a video that I saw on Twitter. Does anybody know who the really big black guy is that's been going to these rallies and asking people why they don't like Trump? I should give him credit because it was his video. The dude looks like he's like 6'9". He's fucking huge. But he just goes up and asks him, like, why are you protesting? And this person like, I'm protesting against Trump. And he's like, well, what did Trump do? And he went, he's doing stuff. And he goes, okay, yeah, but what stuff are you protesting against? And I'm like, well, he's taking away rights, I think, and the Constitution. I'm barely paraphrasing this. But they don't even know why they hate him. It reminds me very much of I go back to this one so often because it was so funny, that Milo Yiannopoulos one, where somebody goes up to a guy who's there to protest against Milo and like, why are you protesting Milo? And he's like, my friend told me to. And you go, okay, yeah, but what do you not like about him? He goes, I don't even really know him. I don't know anything about him, but my friend told me I should be out here protesting. That is not the same as saying, I don't understand why you love a murderer. That's not at all the same. But CNN is framing it that way, right? Because that's what they do. Our press is such trash. This is trash interviewing trash right now. That's what this is. And I think it's the same. And Taylor there nodding along. You think there's any other place where she would agree to be compared to Trump supporters? Because that's what he's doing here. He's comparing her to a Trump supporter.
I totally agree.
It's because a lot of people are just really, really desperate.
Okay. If that's what you want to go with, that people are really desperate, I'll give it to you, but we have to put that in context. The people who support Trump are desperate for an America that they deserve. They are desperate for lower prices, national unity, not having a bunch of illegals destroying your country. They are desperate for some normalcy and some good governance. The largely female audience for Luigi, they're desperate for love. They're desperate because their eggs are drying up, and every month they're reminded how much closer they are to never fulfilling their biological imperative. They're not desperate for good medical care. That is nonsensical. Everybody's just desperate. There's different kinds of desperation. Just saying. Guy sounds Irish, so I apologize. Yeah, I don't know what he is, but he works for CNN, so I don't blame the Irish for this, or the English, or the whoever he's from. I blame CNN.
They want somebody to take on the system. They want.
I want you to listen to how she just said that. We're talking, again, I just have to point this out. I know I've said it a lot, but Mangione walked up behind the CEO of a healthcare company and shot him in the back of the head, murdering him. And she just said, they want somebody to take on the system. What do we glean from that? What do we take from that statement? That Taylor Lorenz wants people that she doesn't agree with shot. That's taking on the system in her. Can anybody point to one thing that has changed massively in the insurance industry because of that shooting? What structural change happened there, bitch? He didn't go and protest and cause them to say, hey, we're going to just accept all claims. What did he do to take on the system? He murdered somebody, and that is what she sees as taking on the system. Now, again, let's go back to the story at the top of this show. Somebody set fire to Josh Shapiro's house with him and his children in it. In her world, that's taking on the system. That's not taking on the system. That's terrorism. You're right, Faithless. It's exactly what it is. It's not taking on the system.
Somebody to tear down these barbaric establishment institutions.
That's what Luigi tore down, the barbaric institution of healthcare. He stopped health insurance from being barbaric. Even the way they talk about it, right? Even the way they talk about it. My health insurance, I've probably used more than you guys have used yours, and it's been fine. They've covered what they were supposed to cover. I don't know what kind of insurance you guys have, or maybe you guys haven't read your policies, but and I'm not saying it's great. I pay way too much for it, and it doesn't cover as much as my older insurance did, but thank you, Obama, for that shit. But even the way that she does that, like these barbaric systems, and it's just a given, right? It's just a given. The media has been manipulating you guys into hating these things for a long time. There's stuff to hate about, I'm sure. But this has been political since the start. I mean, this really becomes a thing with Hillary Clinton back in 92. And you've got to take on healthcare. And America resoundingly rejected that shit to the point where they stopped letting that bitch talk in public. It was such a disaster for them that in 94, for the first time in 48 years, the Republicans took the House and Senate because of Hillary Clinton. That's how bad it was. And then it started. Then the media narrative kicks up into high gear about how bad the insurance is. And that's what gives us Obamacare in 2010. And that was supposed to fix everything. Remember, this is what we need to do. This is what we need to do. It's going to make everything better. And instead, it's gotten worse. The system was taken on. That's what Obamacare was taking on the healthcare system. How many of you guys are better off? We're now at the point where it's so bad, murdering the CEO of a healthcare company is being cheered by the media. I got more fans than ever from saying I want to bang that ugly motherfucker. That's where we're at. The media is shit, guys. Anything that, look, I'm not saying they never tell the truth, because they like to tell lies with the truth. It's a very effective propaganda tool. But you have to understand where the propaganda is. Go back and look. Everything I just told you about how this worked is true. Hillary Clinton, this was their thing. It's a medical care. And it blew up in their face so badly that they had to send their little lapdogs in the press out there to make everybody think, oh, I totally understand why Mangione would do this. Thank you, Dark Conservatarian. Hey, Monk, what's your opinion on Pixar's Brave? I rewatched it recently, and I still think it's one of Pixar's most boring and least watchable. I've never watched it. I've never seen Brave. I've only seen parts of like a lot of the cartoons from that time, because my kids were already older and the grandchildren hadn't come along yet. So my cartoon movie watching, I'm not against adults who go watch cartoons, but I don't seek them out myself that way. I prefer live action movies. And most of the time I watch them, it's because there's a child watching with me. Like, I know a lot of the stuff of cartoons from when my children were little, and now when my grandchildren are little. And then there'll come a time where there's a gap where it's not until my great grandchildren, right? So yeah, I've never watched it. So, all right, moving along. Oh God, so much to say about this one. Apparently, Asmongold is in trouble because of a clip he put up. I know some of you guys are like, what's an Asmongold? It's okay, you'll be fine. This is an Asmongold. We've talked about him before, but he was apparently talking about tipping on his show. And for those of you listening along, this is one of those screens, and it says, leave a tip, not optional. Let's start with that. Tips are optional. Kind of messed up, Monkey. What's messed up? And how you doing, AP? I don't like cartoons. No, I didn't say I didn't like cartoons. I said I don't seek them out. I just don't seek them out. I tend to go for live action. I will wax long and hard about how much I love various different cartoons. Little Mermaid is one of my favorite movies ever. The original Disney Little Mermaid, I love that movie. But it's not, I don't watch it unless the girls are around. It's not one that but in fairness to me, I don't watch many movies when I'm by myself, or unless there's a reason for me to go watch it. I watched, I'm using air quote, newer television for the first time in 2 weeks last night, as me and Lady Monkey are catching up on the end of season 3 of Reacher, which, by the way, season 3 of Reacher, I only have the finale to go. It's still better than most of the slop that's on TV, but it is the weakest of the 3 Reacher seasons. Season 1 is still the best. But some of the writing in season 3 is just, it's kind of forced. It comes out of left field. It's not like, I mean, they're trying to convey stuff and it gets it conveyed, but it's so unnatural. And compared to the first 2 seasons, it's jolting to see it. But yeah, so anyway, so for the tipping here, I loved it on the screen because it's tipping not optional. No, tipping should always be optional. If it's not optional, it's not tipping, it's part of the bill and it needs to be put that way. That's how it should be. Oh, are they not using the books? They are using the books. I forget which of the books, because each of the seasons has been based on the books, on a specific book. Adjusted for, modern times, because like a lot of these were written before cell phones, but you can't make a show today without people having cell phones. But most of it is good. It's just that it's specifically 2 characters. There's a female DEA agent, and then there's one of the bad guys who's played by Anthony Michael Hall. My wife pointed that out to me last night, and I'm like, holy shit, that is him. They're just their dialogue, because it's like they're trying to condense way too much, and they're like, here, have him just state it. So yeah, it's those 2 characters, their writing is horrible. Anyway, leave a tip not optional, and the choices here is 30%, 35%, or 50%. Didn't it used to be 15 was considered like what you should do? And frankly, you should tip based on the service you get. That's what you should tip. If they're good, if everything goes good. My rule is if my drink ever gets empty, your tip's going down. I should never have to ask you for a refill. But anyway, Asmongold has something to say about this, and I have problems with what he says here, but not the problem everybody else is getting mad about.
Holy shit! God damn! Yeah, just do a custom. So what you do in a situation like this, by the way, is you just do a custom tip and you make it 0. This is something they do at Torchy's Tacos here in Austin, and that's how you do it. I mean,
I don't have a problem with that. If you don't think the server deserves any tip, then tip 0. That's fine. But what he should have said here is do a custom tip and do the amount that you agree with, whether that's 0 or 10 or whatever it is.
And for me, you custom and then go to 0. Now, obviously not optional. Apparently it clearly is. And so anyway, this is something that happens a lot. And I feel like custom tip equals 0. Yeah, if I don't sit down and get shit handed to me and I'm not tipping, I have no problem tipping people now because I have a lot of money. But like before that, I never tipped in general, even if I was being waited on.
Okay. If you're too poor to tip, I get it. But if it was just a general rule, I never tip, then you're an asshole. If you're overseas and tipping isn't part of the culture, that's fine. Oh no, not a loser I made fun of and pretended he won something. Whatever should I do? Uh-oh, what happened? Is that something going on on the chat that I wasn't paying attention to? Yeah, your default shouldn't be I never tip. Just saying.
Or anything like that. I think the fact is, like, somebody bringing me my food, like I've said this 100 times, so I don't want to like get into it too much. But like, I would much rather tip the chef and like the cook that made my food than the waiter that brings it to me.
Okay. All right. Asmon, I want to like you. I really do. I mean, I can smell you through the screen. Please take a bath. But I want to like you because there's times you say stuff that I agree with, and then there's times you say shit like this. For the record, in many places, the wait staff shares with the kitchen staff. I know you don't know that because you're an idiot, but even before you get there, even before we get to the sharing, yeah, exactly, Faithless. They typically have a sharing system. Before we ever get to that, the cooks have to be paid minimum wage. The wait staff doesn't. The cooks are paid a higher wage, and tipping is how places make up for not having to pay the wait staff. at minimum wage. There's a lower minimum wage for wait staff. So the tips make that up for the wait staff. There's nothing to be made up for the kitchen staff, you asshole. I can see his point, but then the wait staff is the only person, whoops, that rolled up on my screen, not paid a decent wage. Yeah. That's why tipping works the way it does in America, is because we don't require the thing. And if they ever do that, if they ever move them up to full-time or full pay, maybe I'll tip less.
It's like stolen valor almost, right?
No, it's not stolen valor. They're not taking credit for the food that was made. They're the ones who brought it to you. The chef doesn't bring it to you. He doesn't make sure your drink is filled and get crayons for the kids. And God, you're such an idiot. I really want to like Asmongold. I do, but he's so dumb.
I mean, you're the one, like you've got a guy that's like making the food. He's sitting in there in this fucking kitchen, sweating his fucking ass off, dealing with this. And then it's apparently now
dealing with what? His job? Okay.
It's somebody else that you've got to do it with. Fuck that. It's hot, bro. Yeah, it's hot. And like you're giving the money just to some cute waitress. I don't give a fuck about that.
All right, this is one thing I do want to address. Men, you guys have a bad habit of this. I get it. When the cute waitress bats her eyes at you, you're like, oh, I'm going to break out my wallet. But the waiter, it's not with a D or a T. The waiter also is making shit. And if he's doing a good job, you should be tipping him just as well. Don't be sexist in your tipping. Bunch of simpy little bitches.
That, yeah, I don't care. And so I just want to have good food. And so that's who I'd want to reward, right?
You reward the chef by eating there because he's going to get paid well, dumbass. The reason how can he be this big of a person and so many people listen to him and he doesn't understand how the basic economy of the restaurants he goes to work out? Dark Conservatarian, thank you. Adam Conover did a video against tipping many years ago. What do you think his opinion would be now, seeing how many of these cashiers are leftists? I honestly don't know, and Adam's a retard anyway. Yeah, I'd have to see the video to know what his whole point was, but Kevin Sarvold, thank you. This is why I tip between 75 and 100%. That's nice. I tip based on service. I have tipped as high as 100%, and I have tipped as low as nothing because that waitress was horrible. She was absolutely fucking horrible. I had to get my own refill. That's how bad that waitress was. Like, fuck this bitch.
The majority of places pay the cooks way more. Yeah, and I think that honestly, like you think about it, which would be easier to replace, a waiter or a what do you call it, a cook?
Well, it depends on what kind of restaurant you're in. This is going to be a dirty little secret some chefs out there aren't going to want you to hear. Most of you are not going to 5-star restaurants. Your chef could be easily replaced by a monkey. That's all. Not everywhere. And you're not going to get it's not going to be immediate, but to denigrate one that way, I mean, cooking is not that hard. I know some people, I can't cook. Yeah, you can. Cooking's not that hard. I tip my bartender real good because she's cool as fuck, and conversations are great. Yeah. His point here, I'd rather tip the man who made the thing. All right, that's fine. But that guy's already getting paid. And somebody brings up to him that they get paid better. It's not just that they're paid better. There's actual legality here of who gets paid more. Ugh. Even I don't want to eat my cooking. And you need to get better at it. Cooking is not that hard. Especially nowadays when you got things like meat thermometers, and if you can't cook, then you're just not trying. I don't know what DTF is. I'm not American. I always thought tipping was DTF. What is that? Truth be told, I don't really care about Asmongold's opinion on cow tipping. I don't really care that it's Asmongold, but this is a conversation that comes up every 6 months or so on social media about tipping. And his take here just made me laugh because everybody's mad at him that he never tipped, or he says he never tipped, and that's fine. And some people are mad that he showed people how to get away with not tipping. I only tip if I get a ZJ, dude. Kimsar, thank you. Another thing they don't tell you is if you buy a drink, another person gets a cut. Oh yeah, when you're talking about the bartender makes it. I don't understand the big problem with tipping. If you don't want to tip, don't tip. But if people call you cheap for not tipping, then just say, yeah, I'm cheap. Nobody likes to be called cheap though, right? But in this case, especially because I tip now, but you clearly don't want to, right? But the real problem with it is he doesn't understand how it works in the first place. That there is tip sharing, and and that the cooks are not just paid a little bit more because they are harder to replace. It's because it's the fucking law, you idiot. Why? Why do people like this exist? And have the nerve to give their opinions when they don't know anything they're talking about. Speaking of not knowing what they're talking about, let's move on to the trans stuff for today. The transes is, damn it, Sean, see what you made me do? I do blame Actual Justice Warrior for me calling them transes, isn't it? Because I've seen too many of his videos where he does it, and it's just funny. Now, I tip, but that's that 20% stuff they do, and delivery is a scam. Oh, I would never do the delivery. Delivery is so expensive. Do you remember when delivery first started with the pizza places? You weren't expected to, like, here's $5 bajillion for bringing me some food. I don't understand the culture of that. I've never, maybe I'm cheaper than I am lazy. Keldrick, thank you. 30% is a very generous tip. That's way generous for most people. I'm not paying 30% unless the waiter is going far above and beyond what they need. 50% is just out of the question. I'm perfectly happy to tip, but it's optional. You can't demand a tip. Yeah, you shouldn't demand a tip because then it's not tipping. That's part of the price, and it needs to be put into the pricing. That was a bad transgression. Stop it. Anyway, so this is a Target. There was a leftist protest throughout a Target. As they're walking through this Target, upset that Target got rid of DEI, I want you to pay attention to the people you see. I want you to pay attention to the pigmentation walking across your screen here.
Shame on Target.
I love that they started a chant and nobody joined in. That's embarrassing right there. We'll stop with their trans superhero in the cart right here. By the way, that's a good way to get hurt. You guys notice how much of that DEI crowd was white? Like disturbingly white? Ain't no browns in that mix of DEI. Their protest isn't even DEI. Come on, man. Now, Target, you kind of brought this on yourself, okay? You are the companies. I need you to listen to me. Stop getting into politics. I realize you got to give some money to grease some wheels. I understand that part. And that's not the issue because that's been happening forever. But you guys have started taking political positions. And yes, DEI is a political position. Pro-trans is a political position. All of this nonsense, you put your fucking hat in the ring for is going to come back to bite you in the ass. Because now you guys are like, please understand, they are not rethinking DEI because they realize that it is fucking sexist and racist. That has nothing to do with it. It's that the courts have started to say it's sexist and racist. So they have no choice here. They can get sued or they can stop their racist, sexist DEI policies. So they have no real choice here. Their choice would have been not getting involved in this stupid shit in the first place. There's no reason for Target to have an opinion on DEI. But they're a corporation. Yeah, and their job is to make money, not to get involved in political bullshit that they thought was going to help sell stuff. You want to help sell stuff, lower prices or get better products. When are they going to learn that sucking up to the lefties never works anyway because they don't have any fucking money? Kevin Sarvold, thank you. Now, Monk, mental handicap is DEI. Okay, we're not doing the Sam Cedar that there's an invisible A at the end of DEI, okay? They're committing crimes. Yeah, absolutely. DEI is criminal. It's at least civilly liable. None of these companies, we had this whole thing with, Trump getting elected, like all of these companies are bending the knee. They're getting rid of DEI. They started getting rid of DEI before Trump was elected because the courts had started to weigh in and say, yeah, this violates the fucking law. The whole problem with this is that it violates the law, at least from the respect of a company looking at this. You and I can look at it and go, well, it's fucking retarded. That's why you shouldn't do it. But when it comes to these companies, what they're looking at is, I'm going to get sued for a lot, and rightfully sued based on the laws of the land. The whole notion of DEI is just a backdoor way to try some affirmative action bullshit, which has long since been declared, except for in colleges for some reason, and the military, illegal. You can't do that shit. But then they're like, wait. What if we call it something different? This is why I told you all of the shit, it's not going away. They're just going to rename it. And what's the one they're using now? Bridge? Oh, we don't have DEI anymore. We're embracing Bridge. You mean DEI with a different name? It's the same shit, and it's going to get you in the same trouble. You need to stop doing this shit. Make your company work without trying to pander to people that, one, aren't going to buy your products in the first place, and two, aren't going to get you in legal trouble down the line. What? I never knew that. Never knew what? Which part? It's a bridge too far. It's the fastest I've ever seen a turnaround on this stuff, but the left has gotten better at doing that. I mean, look at how many different ways they've tried to hit Trump already. I think chaos is the one they're going to settle on. The undemocratic and all that shit has fallen to the wayside, and chaos seems to be the one they're going with. But the reality of the situation for places like Target, if you want to sell trans bathing suits, go ahead. It's just going to cause you issues, though, because that is a political statement. You can no, we're offering it to our customer. There is no store that is going to increase their profit margin by a noticeable percent when you are catering to 0.04% of the population. That's not a business decision. That's a political decision. And it's going to bite you in the ass if you keep doing stupid shit like that. But yeah, so I don't feel bad for Target for this. This is what they get for being political. And look, lots of companies are doing it. But Target went out there and put a target on themselves. I mean, wasn't Target the one in North Carolina like, we'll let transes pee in the girls' room? You made yourself, it'd be like Skittles coming out now and going like, during Pride Month, we're just going to stay a rainbow because that was really retarded. The transes who don't eat the fucking Skittles anyway will be like, I can't believe you betrayed us like this. Stop putting your hat in the political ring and see what happens then. See how much less shit you get. And when they come at you and go, we need to know what you think about this, you say, that's not something we're at all interested in. We're here selling products to people who need it. All right, let's move on to our socialist assholes of the night, and actually communist assholes, let's be fair. Here's a little truth. America's $36 trillion debt isn't because working people have Social Security and Medicaid. That's true, by the way. The $36 trillion debt is not because of Social Security and Medicaid. It's partially because of Social Security and Medicaid. It goes on to say it's because billionaires and corporations refuse to pay their fair share. Period. Wrong. Wrong. All right, let's deal with their lies. First lie: the millionaires and billionaires don't pay their fair share. The overwhelming majority of taxes in the United States are paid by corporations and the rich people. The rest of us, you guys have heard me bitching about my tax bill. My tax bill is nothing compared to what Elon pays. My tax bill is nothing compared to what Walmart pays. These are the people that keep the country running, keep the government running. It's their billions that are doing that, not my way too much to actually believe that my government charged me. But anyway, they're the ones who pay. So what is their fair share? They're already paying the bill, all right? This would be like you and your friends all going out to lunch and everybody orders the most expensive thing. And each of those things, every entree costs $100. But one of your friends has a lot of money and the rest of you work at McDonald's. And you're going, look, I know I ordered $100 entree, but I'm only going to pay. You're going to cover the rest. That's what's going on here. I gave much bigger portion of my income. One, no, you didn't. But poor, you guys do realize that poor people in the United States do not pay taxes. You know that, right? Things like the earned income credit, the child tax credit, these are things that you get money back. Everything you paid in comes back to you and then some. It's not till you're getting to, I don't want to say middle class, but lower middle class that you start paying into taxes. And even then, we have a progressive tax system. In that progressive tax system, rich people pay a larger percentage than everyone else. The higher you go up in income, the higher your tax percentage is. It's not that we all pay 30% and rich people get their tax breaks and so they end up paying 5%. No. What's the top marginal rate? Is it 37%? I think 37.5%. Most people that are going to listen to this are paying around 15% because you're not making that much money. Billionaires are paying, and millionaires for that, because this just says billionaires because that's become their thing. It used to be millionaires, but then Bernie's like, I'm a millionaire. You guys got to start just saying billionaires. Sorry, that was my Bill Clinton voice instead of Bernie. Sorry, I was being lazy. But billionaires and corporations refuse to pay their fair share. This is a lie. It's a lie. They don't refuse to pay it. And what they'll point to is like, oh, Donald Trump didn't pay taxes for a couple of years. Yeah, because of the tax law. Not because nobody's accused him of tax fraud. Well, a few morons who haven't actually read the stories. He's never been charged with tax fraud. When Biden was president, DOJ never went after Trump for tax fraud. You know why? Because they can't find any tax fraud because all he's doing is taxes how he's supposed to. It's the system that's been set up by Congress. And you know what? You could do the same thing. If you don't want to take your standard deduction, if you want to go through and itemize everything, try it. See what happens. But the reason corporations end up not having to pay is because of the way the tax law has been written. And sometimes that means they don't pay anything. because they've taken that much of a hit. And they instituted the minimum tax, the minimum corporate tax, which means even if you make no money, your profit is in the negatives. You're in the red. Like, but you're a corporation, you still got to pay because your fair share. What is the fair share of minus $100,000? What is your fair share at that point? Oh, it's just such nonsense. It's just a lie. The rich don't pay as much as... Yes, they do. They pay way more than you. The overwhelming majority of United States taxes is not paid by the middle class by a long shot. What is it? The bottom 80% pays like, 20% of taxes? And actually, that's only a chunk of that bottom 80% because the bottom 50% pays like nothing. But those damn rich people. Stop looking at the rich people. Look, I'm not saying there's no rich people that are cheating the system or anything, but we call those congressmen. At least direct your anger at the right spot. I'm just going to put this on the screen while I ramble about this because she's so cute. Look at my little fluffy kitty. Look at her. This is Phoebe's attack position. I love that kitty cats fight from their back. I was watching a thing about who would win, a lion or a tiger, and lions fight upright where tigers roll on their back like this. It's look how cute she is. Anyway, we have this, well, I don't want to say we, but in society, especially coming out of academia, there's this whole notion that rich people are the bad people, and some of them are. And if you want to look back in history and look at people like Andrew Carnegie or the Rockefellers, there were some really, really fucking bad people. We're not in that age anymore. Does that mean that they're all on the up and up and good? No, of course not. But it's not the robber barons of old that everybody wants you to think. Exactly. They complain about the rich yet are defending Congress that got busted by... Man, the shit going on in Congress. You have people go into Congress, a job that pays $174,000 a year, and they come out multimillionaires. And they're like, what? What's wrong with that? It's the oligarchs. Fucking Bernie Sanders, right? Yeah, I'm one of the poor ones. If you want to be rich like me, you got to sell a book. Remember, this man had 2 houses before he ever sold a book. And we're not talking about a place in D.C. We're talking about he had a nice villa on the lake. This motherfucker, the oligarchs. You want to talk about the rich people who are screwing you? They're all in Congress. You're not losing money because Elon Musk makes some, okay? You are losing money because your Congress is taking it from you and then blaming the rich people. Who writes those tax laws? Congress. Who's let them get away with this shit? Congress. Oh, and then they have the nerve to see, it's government. It's what they always do. They cause a problem and they're like, we're here to save you from it. And so you have people like AOC. I saw a great thing because I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to what's going on with the Democratic Party, but they're trying to make AOC a thing. They're trying to give her some street cred by having her go out on that tour with Bernie Sanders. And if you watch Bernie when he's with her, he does not like her. You can see it in his mannerisms. We saw it when he was with Hassan on that one video. He doesn't like AOC. But she needs his credibility because she has no credibility nationwide. There are 2 things they're pushing for is AOC and Tim Walz, which is fucking fantastic. It's like, get us the most retarded. And they're like, yeah, but Rashida Tlaib will turn people off. Okay, we'll get her friend, the other retarded one. They're trying desperately to make her a thing and give her legitimacy with Bernie Sanders. And I don't think it's for a presidential run. I think it's for a Senate run. Remember, she knocked off Crowley, who was the number 3 Democrat in the House at the time. He was an untouchable. And she decided to touch when actually it was the Justice Democrats. Cenk Uygur decided to touch there. Don't forget, Cenk Uygur is why we have AOC. Cenk Uygur and Kyle Kulinski. Those 2 retards helped give us AOC. And so I think she's positioning for a Senate run and then maybe for a presidential run. But they're trying to do it by attaching her to Bernie Sanders, which will work for a Senate run because it's in New York. It's not going to work for a national run because never forget, and this is why I keep telling you guys this, Bernie Sanders got his ass kicked in both elections. Hillary Clinton had a plan to cheat, but they didn't have to cheat because he sucked. And people rejected him because he's a dirty fucking commie. And as commie as this country's got, as much as the academics have tried to make communism a thing here, most Americans still reject that shit. What is this one? Oh, this is the guy I was talking about earlier. I forgot I had one of these videos pulled up. So I don't remember if this is the one I was talking about or if it's just similar. Man, I got to get a hold of these guys and figure out why they're doing this to me. Anyway, this is the guy I was talking about. Look how big that motherfucker is. But he goes up and he goes to these different anti-Trump protests and just talks to the people.
Excuse me. What are we protesting today?
Donald Trump.
Well, what's Donald Trump doing that we're protesting?
Well, he is fucking up the American democracy right now and trying to kind of repeal a bunch of shit in the Constitution, like, rights and.
He's fucking up a bunch of shit in the Constitution. He's fucked up democracy by getting elected. Can anybody point to one thing that Trump has done that has destroyed any part of democracy? I really need that addressed. Thank you, Kevisar. AOC and Sanders are the two most popular Dems right now. Depends on which poll you're looking at. Because Kamala was still really popular in a poll not long ago. But they're the two getting media attention right now. And the dirty secret about politics is media attention is what. This is why you always see like Michelle Obama was so very popular and about she's going to run. Michelle never gave any indication that she was going to run for president, but she was popular because they asked about her. And Tyrai, thank you so much. I'm so sorry I missed this. But Monk, according to my college textbooks, since 1619, God damn you, since 1619 we're Africans, and they were first and only slaves in the country, and women are never put in positions of leadership. Then looking at court cases that happened before 9/11 while using current standards, it's amazing to me how historically illiterate the left is. I mean, it's amazing how many times they've said this happened in history, and then you go look it up and it's not what really happened. We've had several examples lately. Okay, thank you. Incorrect, Monk. Kamala is popular within men's polls. Stop it. Sorry, let's get back to the video. I cut this off because you're saying nothing. You're saying nothing. Like Donald, he's doing a bunch of stuff. There's not a single example given. Just he's like getting rid of Constitution and rights and stuff. Which ones? Any example will be great.
American democracy right now and trying to kind of repeal a bunch of shit in the Constitution, like, rights and liberties. So
is there?
I dare you to name a single right or liberty in the Constitution that Trump has done. That he's destroyed.
Anything in specific that he's?
I don't have all the information, but.
Okay, one, you weren't asked for all the information. How about any information? I don't have all the information is not a proper response to can you give a specific. He didn't say list everything that's wrong. Just give me one example. You should have one example, right? You know what I love about this guy? He looks like that. If this were some skinny little white guy asking these questions, these people, oh, we're not talking to this guy. But it's a big old black guy, and so they can't be racist. They know that anything they say will be like, oh, you're being racist. So they're like, well, I guess I have to answer his questions. Oh, Keldrick, thank you. He's trying to repeat a bunch of stuff like rights, or sorry, he's trying to repeal a bunch of stuff like rights. I bet all my money that this thing supports repealing gun rights. That's a bet I'm 100% certain in. Oh, I have no doubt. I have no doubt. But you have to remember, they only care about the rights that they've made up in their minds, not the ones that are actually written in the Constitution. But I do love this. I noticed this on one of his other videos because he was questioning somebody and they had that annoyed look that the left gets before these leftist protesters get before they call in their friends to block the camera. And the only thing that I can take, one, he's also very polite. He doesn't get belligerent with them. He just asks him questions. And I love that they just, because of their own nonsense, they can't treat him like they'd treat anybody else. So their racism is actually putting them in an uncomfortable position, which is fucking hilarious to me. Anyway.
But I do know.
What are you against?
Personally, I'm against tyrants. I'm against tyranny. That's what I'm against.
What is that?
Somebody who's coming in and trying to take over the country and get rid of the rules and regulations that have existed for centuries to keep us citizens safe.
Which rules and regulations have existed for centuries that Trump has repealed? The media got mad at him for using a 2-century-old law to get rid of illegals. What the fuck are you talking about, homie? All right. I mean, I'm.
Who do you think is doing that?
Currently, Donald Trump and Elon Musk and all of his cabinet members.
Why Elon Musk, though?
The Department of Government Efficiency, he was put in charge of a department that doesn't even exist before this, and he's not even an American.
He is an American. He's South African, but he is an American citizen. And that was kind of racist, really, or xenophobic, right? He's not even an American.
Who's not an American?
Elon Musk.
Okay.
He's from South Africa. I don't know if you knew that.
How do you feel about Donald Trump? Okay. Right.
That's how I feel.
So
apparently he said something so bad it had to get cut.
Who do you want to run America?
The people, preferably.
You want the people to run America?
Like a democracy should be. Yes.
But that's what happened. That's what happened. The president was elected through democracy. Granted, it's electoral college democracy, but it's the way it's happened for centuries. You know that time frame you were just talking about a little bit ago? We have a representative democracy. It's happening like it should, you idiot. Who should be doing this? The people. What he means to say there is people who agree with me. God, they're so fucking annoying. Thank you, Joel. Have you seen the stupidity regarding Real ID? Which stupidity about it? Because I've seen, we'll get to Real ID. Hold that thought, Joel. But if you could, which specific stupidity are you talking about? You don't have to donate, just if you would toss it in chat there.
But what happens, like, do you feel like the people voted for him?
I think the people were fooled.
But they still, hey, there's democracy right there for you, fucker. This is what always makes me laugh when they're like, democracy. Shit, he won. He's killing democracy. Democracy got, all democracy means is most popular. That's it. The most popular wins. And even if the people were fooled, if that was most popular, that was what was most popular. What are you mad about? Do you like democracy or not? But this is what I was talking about just a second ago. He wants this run by people he agrees with. It should be run by the people like me, not people who disagree with him. Of course not, because then they've been fooled. You've been fooled. You believe that men can't turn into women. You've been fooled. You believe that America should be for Americans. You've been fooled. You think the southern border shouldn't just be fucking wide open. You've been fooled. He's mad because he didn't get his way. Yes, exactly, Pat. 100%. And as to the Real ID thing, what'd you say about it being people acting like it's new? I became aware of Real ID the last time I tried or last time I had to re-up my license. And here in Michigan, we got a choice on whether we wanted to do it or not. The next time I do it, it's mandatory. I am against Real ID, and we'll get to that in just a little bit.
Fooled by who?
Him.
How?
I don't.
It's a false consciousness.
It's a what?
It's a false consciousness.
What do you mean by that?
Okay, so the.
Can I see your sign?
Can you see it?
No, I was sitting right here.
To the camera.
No, to the camera, brother.
I'm talking to you.
But I'm interviewing. I got a mic.
I don't care about that.
You decided to
I'm
talk.
here as an individual.
Individual.
I'm here as an individual.
Okay.
I'm talking to you as an individual.
Okay, well, I want to see the sign. If you have a sign.
Read the sign.
Okay, all right. What's the sign?
You go out of your.
This dude is so offended at the notion. He's holding a sign in public, but he doesn't want to show it to the camera. I will give it to this little soy boy. He's the only one that like I've seen push back against this guy. He's the only one I've seen not be racist about it. Treat him like he would any other person asking these questions. Thank you, Dangerous. As I said on Twitter, this is like the dude didn't read the book before being asked to give his report. Also, I love them decrying centuries-old laws. Remind me again, how old is the Constitution? Well, the Constitution, several people have been talking. I've seen Bill Maher is one of them who has mentioned like the Constitution is like this really old document. It is, but that doesn't mean it's irrelevant or that it's out of date or anything. It's because the founders were pretty smart guys. But at the same point, they'll point to something like the 1798 law that Trump used to get illegal gang members out of the country and be like, it's a century-old law. It's horrible. And then they'll turn around and be like, oh, this has been around for Roe v. Wade was only 50 years old there. This has been around forever. You can't just change it. It's amazing when they decide yes or no, old matters. You know what I mean? It's fucking insane. But you're right about how it's like he's giving a report and never read the book. There's a prairie and some people live there in a little house, and it was a long time ago. I liked it. I really liked it. It was a good book. Good book.
Way.
All people are children of the earth.
Yeah, all people are children of the earth.
Suddenly now he's proud of his sign. I love it.
Can you disagree with that? Can you
okay. All people are children of the earth. Sure. What does that mean? It's a meaningless fucking statement. Yes, everyone on earth, unless you believe ancient alien theory, are of the earth. And Bill Maher talked normal about Trump lately. I forgot all about that. Oh, I need to watch that video on here. I only watched the first couple of minutes of it. This enough with these idiots. Yeah, so this is what I'm getting at. They have no real point, right? They don't even know what they're mad about. They just know they're mad. They're mad because Donald Trump won and Elon's a thing and centuries and there's a little house and a little girl with pigtails. They don't even know what they're mad about. They really don't. What time is it? Oh, we're an hour and a half into the show. Let's do the Real ID thing real fast. So Real ID is being pushed for the SAVE Act in order to vote. One of the provisions in it is that you can go register to vote if you have a Real ID. Real ID has been a concept since 2005, which is when it's passed. It's been in implementation since 2015, if I remember correctly. It might be a little later than that. Some places it's mandatory now. Some places are like Michigan, where, like I said, I had the choice the last time I did it, but my next one, I have no choice. We have to go to Real ID. I do not like Real ID because it is more government over. I don't like Real ID for the same reason I don't like Social Security numbers. It's just another way for our government to track us. However, this has been a thing that nobody's had any fucking problem with. Nobody's been out there whining about it. It's been part of the law for 20 fucking years. And now suddenly, because they want to use that for both. Now, I want you to understand that with Real ID, one of the reasons that I'm going to have to do it is that eventually You will not be able to get on a plane to go from North Carolina to South Carolina without a real ID. You have to show that to travel in our own nation. But the idea that you have to use it for voting, suddenly it becomes the most erroneous, burdensome piece of ID you've ever had to have, ever. And sometimes women change their names when they get married, and that's going to be, it's not a fucking issue. My wife has her real ID. She didn't have to jump through any hoops. And I heard this notion that some people can't even get their birth certificates because it's one of the documents you have to get when you get your real ID. Everybody has access to their birth certificates. You might not have the original, but you can get a copy of it. Oh my God, I can't believe we have to do this. This thing that's been law for 20 years. And in many states is already required. Like, oh my God, I can't believe it. This is so burdensome. Black people couldn't get regular IDs, and now you're trying to get them real IDs? What's wrong with you? Thank you, Dark Conservatarian. I swear I don't have that manly sounding of a voice. But whenever I hear a bearded guy with a girl's voice, it makes me feel like I have Monk's voice. Oh, man. Yeah, that dude did sound kind of girly, didn't he? Anyway, yeah, so for the real ID thing, the conversation that's going on now, I believe is the wrong conversation about real ID, because real ID was a reaction to 9/11, and the fact that the implementation was pushed off as far as it was shows you that they didn't think it was really that big of a deal. It's just another way to track us, and I hate that aspect of it. But when it comes to the voting thing, I mean, remember, these people were mad about just the notion of any ID, right? The notion of having to show ID was like, oh my God, you just hate black people. Sure, racist, whatever you say. So them freaking out about real ID really doesn't surprise me. And this whole notion that it's about disenfranchisement, it is. It's about the disenfranchisement of illegals. But it is funny to see them suddenly care about it, right? I think that was on Bill Maher's personal timeline. I wonder if he's got it up on his YouTube. It'd be much easier to watch it over there. So Bill Maher went and hung out with President Trump. And Kid Rock set it up to where, this conversation happens, which is such a weird thing. Kid Rock set it up so that Donald Trump would sit down. Well, actually, that Bill Maher would sit down and talk with Donald Trump. No, I don't see it on his YouTube. God damn it. So I got to watch it on Twitter. All right. Oh, thank you for the donation. Let me get that over here. Have a good day, man. Take care. Tyrai, thank you. Monk, when my sis got married, she did have to deal with serious bureaucracy set up in the state of Pennsylvania, refusing to update her documents, then stating she didn't exist. She's standing there. How could she not exist? Once some things were updated and other things not. It sounds like a problem in the Pennsylvania system. I know lots of married women who've never had any issues. All right. So I wanted to watch this because I don't believe in the kumbaya, we all have to get along stuff, but I do think that there should be more conversation and less hyperbole, especially when you're talking about the principles involved. It's one thing for you and me to sit here and talk shit. It's another for somebody like Bill Maher to have spent the last almost decade just absolutely trashing Trump and be like, I'd never even meet this guy. He's a dick. Bill Maher's talked to some really bad people in his life. I've watched the shows. And for his shit about Trump, never even willing to talk to him. But Kid Rock said, hey, you got to come out and meet him. And so Bill's like, all right, fine, I'll do it. Okay, now this is a part I have a problem with right there. Volume up. I can't. This, like I said, I was hoping he had this on YouTube, and I don't see it over there, so we're having to watch the Twitter version of it. You want me to talk softer so you guys can just turn up everything? My problem with what he says here is he's on record several times talking about how he wouldn't meet with Trump. I wouldn't even meet with him. And Kid Rock shares my belief that there's got to be something better than hurling insults from 3,000 miles away. But that's something you just came to the conclusion of after Trump won again. Hoko, thank you so much. Having you pay $10 for an ID to vote is suppressing your rights. Now, do gun tax and paying for for a permit to protest. Yeah, I've seen people call it a poll tax, and it's absolutely amazing to me. It really is. Poll taxes were specifically designed to keep people from being able to vote, and they were set at limits to where people couldn't vote. If they took like that $1 billion Kamala raised, they could get most of their people who couldn't afford a real ID or any ID. You know, because they care so much. But anyway, yeah, Bill, you're one of the ones who has pushed the notion of not talking to everybody. I'm okay with hurling insults, but you should be willing to talk too. Evolved Potato, thank you so much. I do understand some arguments for real ID to vote, not the travel part, because some Democrat states like California are giving driver's license to illegals. Yeah, I was having a discussion with my son about this. He's seen the stuff where it's like, hey, there's the hang on. Thank you, Dangerous. We will do it that way. You found he got me the YouTube version of this. Oh yes, and that is much louder. Thank God. I appreciate it, my friend. Thank you. Oh, I went to the wrong. Okay. I see what happened. I didn't go to the real time thing. I went to Bill Maher's one, so that's different. There we are. So we'll be able to hear it a little bit better. Anyway, I forgot what I was talking about. I got so excited about having the right video. Let's jump in. Oh, I was talking about how he was the one that was part of this notion. By all means, insult, but you sit down with so many shitty people, but you wouldn't meet with Trump because it was the wrong thing to do. And you only changed your mind after Trump got elected. That's when you suddenly decided that, okay, maybe I should look at this again. You didn't do that all through the election. You didn't have anything horrible to say about the kind of people that believe that you shouldn't talk to others. You were on their side. The funny motherfucker. Good on Bill for this idea and good on Trump for agreeing to it. That is fucking awesome. I would have that framed in my office. I think he should have also printed out all the horrible things he said about Trump and taken that and signed it for Trump. But I do like that he's like, he said all these mean things about me. And this is what it really boils down to for him, why it was like, how dare you not love me? I bet Trump could have had a list of thousands plus from Bill. Oh, absolutely, Faithless. But this is a good, a little bit of ribbing between the two of them. That's funny, and I really do appreciate that. And it does show something about Donald Trump that so many people have trouble with. Donald Trump can insult somebody, and it's not personal. Like, oh, that guy's a fucking retard. And then he meets up with him like, hey, how you doing, buddy? Because he gives his opinion in the moment of the thing that's going on. And as we used to do in the olden times, he can be insulting without actually hating the guy. I insult lots of people I don't hate, but they say something stupid or they do something stupid. And like, oh, that was fucking retarded, man. It's not personal. Like, it's just my opinion of you in the moment. Oh, Jack, my friend, how you doing?
No, not bad. How you doing?
Pretty good, actually. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dangerous. what melted my brain was when Eli Mistel, is it Elie Mistel? I forget how to pronounce his name, said every law passed before 1965 Voting Rights Act should be presumptively unconstitutional. You know that law passed before what law passed before 1865? The Constitution. Well, Ellie's not exactly a smart man.
Oh, he is so dumb.
Nobody would pay any attention to him if it wasn't for that giant white afro.
Yeah, he's going for this Gary Spivey look, the psychic.
Yeah, and instead he just looks retarded, and they keep putting him on TV for some reason.
He shows up. I doubt he even gets paid. They just let him eat some of the catering.
Yeah.
He's just like some random hobo that shows up.
On the screen, Jack, this is what I was talking to you about after last show we did. Bill Maher is holding the list of insults Trump called him that Trump signed for him.
Yeah.
And I really do. I think this is a wonderful moment in political history here. That is a great thing, that both of them had that kind of sense of humor about it.
Yeah, Trump is a legend, man. Say what you will about the guy. He knows what's going to be newsworthy and get showmanship. I
absolutely love that he did that. Anyway, I have not watched any further than this. So from here on, I don't know what he's going to say. All right. This is I really do think the Trump election in 2016 broke Bill. And very much like the Bush election did, it's amazing this keeps happening with him with Republican presidents. Eventually, he comes back around to sanity. It takes him a while. But what typically ends up happening, this is the pattern of Bill Maher. A Republican gets elected president, he goes hard against them, and then he realizes that he has his show at the time, Politically Incorrect. He ends up courting the politically correct crowd, and they turn on him. And then he has to reevaluate and go, oh, well, shit.
Yeah, it's a pattern he gets into all the time. They constantly turn on him, and he still goes back to blow them. It's amazing. It's sort of like he's got some kind of weird battered wife syndrome.
Yeah, indeed. And if he had the principles he espouses all the time, if he truly was a centrist, as he called himself just a few minutes ago, he'd never get in this position because they'd be mad at him all the time anyway.
Yeah. Oh, real quick. Thank you, Tyride. What? Wait, the random hobo has shown up? I had no I had no luck hearing the sound from your short Sunshine stream you did. I want you to know the future of your channel. Also have some money. Oh, I'm going to try and stream more on the comic book streaming channel. It's going to be like pop culture stuff. So, just out of what's that word? Poverty.
Poverty will do it. Yes, poverty is a great motivator.
Yeah, and I'm trying to get more active. I just posted a video on Roll for Sanity. But what I'm likely going to do is I'm going to do a stream, and then I'm going to take the stream down and chop it up into little videos like a lot of people do.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I'm going to try and do that consistently and pick a day of the week to do it, but haven't actually gotten that far yet because there's so much crap going on. Unfortunately, when I tried to use StreamYards to do that stream, it would not accept my microphone.
Oh.
So every time I tried to change the settings, it told me I needed to pay for an account.
What?
So, yeah, because that setting is for special people only. So I may have to start paying for StreamYards again, and it's like $45 a month. So
how good is your internet?
My internet's not too bad. I mean, I rarely have problems.
We'll have to teach you how to use OBS.
Yeah, I really want to learn how to use OBS because it would probably be easier than fighting with my budget all the time. And I want to be able to stream to YouTube and to Rumble at the same time. but I don't want to pay $50 a month for that.
Remind me after the show. We'll talk.
Okay.
I know how to do all of that. I just don't have the internet that allows me to.
Yeah. Well, the place I'm moving to does have better internet than here. It's the same company. It's just more reliable.
As long as you got a decent upload speed, you'll be fine. But anyway, let's get to Bill here and his time with Trump. So well, didn't you go into it the same way?
Yeah, but we don't talk about that.
I get what he's saying, and yeah, Trump kind of a douche move, but the feeling was mutual.
Yeah, look, Maher has been an asshole to him for almost a decade. Why is he going to be nice to you right out the gate?
Thank you, Dark Conservatarian. First time catching you live talking about Trump and insults. And yeah, I'm one of these people who doesn't understand insults not being personal. Maybe it's growing up with the name Francis, Jack. I just don't take insults all that personally, unless it's it's the intention behind it, I guess.
Yeah.
If Jack says something stupid and I go, dude, stop being stupid. I'm not calling Jack stupid. I'm saying that particular thing he said was stupid.
No, he's calling me stupid.
No, I'd just say, man, you're stupid. But I don't think you're stupid.
Oh, well, that's one of us. Oops, knocking shit over. Yeah, look, yeah, you could say something is stupid or somebody said something stupid without directly calling them stupid. But people take offense.
Yeah.
So you can shit talk all day long. It's kind of like your mama jokes. You're not actually insulting their mom. You're just trying to get a rise out of them.
Exactly. And that's something that a lot of people can't handle. And that used to just be a thing when we were kids, Jack.
Yeah.
Insulting, and men insult their friends, and it's how we've been for a long time. And now it's like, never say anything bad about anyone ever. I just realized this is not full screen.
Yeah, it really is about the nuance of it.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of subtleties in social interactions, and a lot of times people are giving you crap because they're joking around with you. They're trying to be friendly. They're not trying to be total assholes. But then there are the total assholes that are trying to hurt your feelings and trying to be douchebags. And sometimes knowing the difference is incredibly important.
And especially when you get into politics and old school politics. I mean, these guys used to insult each other horribly, and then they'd have brunch together. They'd go play tennis and hang out at each other's houses. But in the public arena, they were shitty to each other.
Yeah, because it's part of the game.
Yeah. And Trump is that way. And now you have the people who are actually like Rashida Tlaib. I mean, just somebody who is a genuinely horrible person.
Yeah.
And they mean everything they say because they don't nuance, and you can't have women in men's arenas. Dark Conservatarian, thank you again. To be fair, sarcastic jabs are different. They're really not, especially in the arena of politics. I mean, go back and look at the arguments between like Jack Kemp and Bob Dole. I mean, Jack Kemp once said about Bob Dole, there was a fire at Bob Dole's house in the library, and he was really sad because he lost so many books and he was almost done coloring some of them. I mean, this is back in the 80s, man.
Yeah, who was it? One of the Adams called somebody a hermaphrodite?
Yes.
So, I mean, this is not new. It's sort of like a public spectacle, like a reality show. You know, on screen, they're supposed to be adversarial, but behind the scenes, once the show is over, they're back to being who they are. Never trust a politician. That's kind of my point.
People have trouble, especially in the political arena, separating the insults on politics and the personal stuff. It's why people are so shocked to learn that Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Anthony Scalia were great friends.
Yeah.
And these two didn't even ever insult each other, but they were so polar opposite politically, like they must hate each other. No, they liked each other because there's politics and there's friendship.
Yeah, and you can be friends with people with different political ideologies, as long as you handle it in an agreeable, mutual way where you don't talk about politics very often.
Verifier, that's a great way of putting it. Politics is WWE. Yes, it's professional wrestling.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Although it's slightly gayer than professional wrestling and less well written.
Less body oil, too.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Since Clinton's out of office.
Yeah.
See, oh my God.
He laughs in public all the time. What's he talking about?
But not like you hear stories of him. If you watch people who've met Trump, Piers Morgan, you should watch him talk about Trump. He's really good friends with Donald Trump. And I forget who he was talking to, but it was somebody else who knew Trump. And they were having a conversation about how the Trump that you see is not the Trump behind the scenes. And not that he's fake, but behind the scenes, he's more jokey. He's a very personable guy. He's not standoffish at all. And the whole narrative about him, like this mean Nazi guy, it's nobody who's actually met him and spent personal time with him clings to that shit. Everybody who's met him privately has talked about what a great, charismatic, warm man that he is. And Bill, if you paid attention to any of that, that's what you would have been expecting. But you only talk to people who hate him, so. But Trump does have a point about, like, Biden's dogs were totally political.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and they kept biting people. Maybe don't get the vicious dog, guys.
Yeah.
Like, hey, that one's growling at me. Let's take him.
But the whole point about people loving dogs, that actually makes the point about how political they are, rather than pointing to it not being political. It's like, look, wasn't it Obama who finally got pets in the White House? I mean, they were cats, but they hadn't had them before. And like, oh, politics says we have to have a pet. Adabisi, thank you. I got to Bill's show. Wait, hang on. I've gone to Bill's show when I live near the studio. They ask you to laugh when he tells jokes. Well, yeah, I mean, the whole point of a comedy show is to get laughs. So I hear you. But they don't always listen, is my point, because there's been several times I've been watching and it's a clear laugh line and there's no laugh and it's just dead silence for a minute because he offended the wokies.
Yeah.
Those are actually some of my favorite times when he calls them out for it.
Well, I'm sure he's got quite an ego, too.
Oh, of course he does. He's Bill fucking Maher, dude. Do you know who I am?
No.
He just described my interactions on Twitter. Bill is just now seeing this because it's happening to him. Yeah, and I get that, but if you pay attention, he should have seen it anyway. I get what you're saying. He's narcissistic, and he is exactly who he's talking about. Just seeing what they want to see. And then I met the guy, and he wasn't a complete douche. I mean, people said the same thing about Clinton, about how personable he was in private conversation. About the guy you see on stage is not exactly the same guy. I mean, he makes you feel like you're the center of the room when you're with him. It's okay to acknowledge that stuff. Doesn't mean you still agree with his politics or anything. You know who I never heard that said about? Obama. I never heard anybody say, when you talk with him in private, he's a really great guy. He's really cool to hang out with.
And he mostly steered the conversation to, what do you think about this? I know. Your mind is blown. So is mine.
Why would your mind be blown about that? One of the biggest criticisms of Trump is that he takes in so many different opinions from people and that he just grabs on to whatever the last one was. Trump had fucking Kim Kardashian in to talk about people who should have been paroled and stuff. And he's known for asking people's opinions. This is one of those things that I just don't get. You had to have your head in the sand or just blindly hate to go in there not expecting this. I would be more shocked if Bill came in there. He just kept talking, wouldn't shut up, and wouldn't let me say anything.
Yeah.
Remember when he went and met the Queen, and everybody was like, "I can't believe they're laughing together and stuff." And then sitting at the funeral for Carter, and Obama sitting there like, "Oh, that must be fake laughter that Obama's doing." No, everybody says Trump's a funny guy. But it's their political hatred that makes them where they cannot accept that he might be a nice person, that he might be cool to talk to.
Yeah, that he might actually be funny.
I would love, hey, Mr. Trump, you get podcasters onto your show or on your show at your White House. You should invite me and Jack.
Yeah, we're fun.
We should get to have dinner together.
I don't know if that's a good idea.
No, that's a totally great idea. And
I'm not on any, would be cool.
I'm not on any terror watch lists either.
That's true. That's true.
We're already vetted. This is Bill's take on this, but for some reason I believe that part 100%.
Yeah, it sounds just like Trump.
Yeah, you're right. And another part of this is this wasn't a debate. So, I mean, it was sitting down and talking. It's amazing to me, especially for Bill Maher, right? I mean, the guy who's got politically incorrect, and it was sitting down with all kinds of different people, that he finds it weird that Trump wasn't adversarial with him. Like, Trump didn't call him in here just to tell him what a douchebag he was, you know?
Yeah.
It was a dinner. And if Trump has shown anything, it's that he can sit down and talk with anyone. Fuck, he has to do it every time he goes on a news program.
Yeah.
What I make of it is that Donald Trump is an old school guy and can take a joke, and the people that you're supporting can't.
Did you notice that he didn't mention that he voted for Kamala?
I did notice that.
Just saying.
But in fairness, he was pointing out people that he would talk to, that had become president. He didn't mention Biden either.
Yeah.
Which would have fit in the mold he had just given.
Well, he should be embarrassed by voting for Biden. Let's be honest. He voted for a dementia patient, you weirdo.
I mean, it should say something to you. I much prefer, Jack, and I realize that I'm weird this way. I would much prefer you just tell me what you think, even if it might hurt my feelings, than to try to pussyfoot around and me not know where I actually stand with you. And I think Trump is that way too. He's not going to, even if he does get insulted, it's not something that he's going to like freak out about and stuff. He's just going to, okay, we disagree on that.
Yeah.
It is a lost art form. This is what I was talking about with the British the other day, where I said I really appreciate that the British can insult each other and it's not taken as some kind of personal attack. Things that Americans would cry over, British say to each other all the time. And we need to get back to that. We need to get back to you're not hurting my feelings by having an opinion that I disagree with, no matter how insultingly you put it to me. Anyway, and this is why I said earlier that I don't think that Trump is all that different in person and in public. Bill was saying that the best thing about Reagan was his hair. That is an insult. One, Reagan's hair was horrible. It looked like he had a brain tumor. But that was insulting.
And it was also a joke.
Sure.
I mean, it's obviously a joke.
Uh-oh. Did we get checked? Hang on. I joined Rumble since Monkey got hit on YouTube. Oh, okay. We'll have to take this off the screen for a minute.
Oh, yep.
Hang in there, guys.
Suspended for policy violations.
It'll be back in a minute. Guys, we're still here. We're still here. We got to just take that down because it's been on the screen too long on a live stream, and we got hit with a content ID match. If it follows the norm, Jack, it'll be back in a second. Although I'm not sure how much more we need to watch of it. What do you think so far? I mean, are you hearing anything from him that makes you think, yeah, that's surprising?
No, none of this is surprising. Trump has always been a very personable guy, and if you cross him, he's going to say some mean shit to you. It's how you do things a lot of times in business.
Yeah.
Especially like in this public forum. It is WWE is a really good example of how this is kind of presented, because it's part of the back and forth game. You talk shit about each other for a while, and then you come to an agreement. A lot of people don't understand that, though, because they don't want to monitor this stuff that closely, or they take it too personally. Politicians are sneaky bastards, and they're all like that. They're a bunch of snakes in the grass, but Trump is a different animal. He's more of a P.T. Barnum type.
Guys, we are back on YouTube. It's a content match thing. Don't blame HBO or Maher or even YouTube for it. It's stupid shit that sometimes happens and sometimes doesn't. I'm not going to get in any trouble for any of that, Jack. It's just they're dumb. It's to keep people from ripping off folks' copyright, and I understand it. It's annoying, but is what it is.
Yeah, typically we pause way more necessary than we need to. So,
yeah.
So I think they're a little overzealous with it, but I get why.
Yeah, and it depends on you. I mean, if you want to blame HBO, you can blame them because they're the ones who have to join up with that. We've gotten hit by much smaller creators for that, where it takes us down briefly. Not a big deal though. I threw the link in the chat. If anybody wants to watch the rest of that, go ahead. I really wanted to share the story of Trump signing the insults because that's funny as fuck.
Yeah, it is. Trump has a really good sense of humor.
Yeah,
which is really rare in Washington.
But he then goes. I watch 60 Minutes and I see Trump being insulting. And Bill, you of all people should know how the media works, because he's gotten a lot of shit in the mainstream media before too.
Yeah,
you know how it is.
60 Minutes, really, Bill? I don't think Bill watches any conservative content at all.
Oh no, I don't. I doubt he does. Yeah. But with that, we're going to be wrapping up the show anyway, Jack. We're at the 2-hour mark. I want to do a game stream because I didn't do any streaming on Saturday, I think is the day. And I'm jonesing to play my video game, and I've done my real job now, so I'm going to go play. It's going to be a little while for those of you who do watch the game stream, because Jack and I have some stuff to talk about. We got to go over some OBS stuff, Jack.
Yeah.
But otherwise, thank you guys for watching. Thank you so much for hanging out. You guys are awesome. And thank you for the donations, you guys. Keep us going, and we appreciate it. Jack, anything you want to show?
I'll drop some links in the chat there for a cool video. As always, thank you guys so much for all the donations you give us. You guys are great. We greatly appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Oh, it looks like we're back down again.
Links to what? Oh, did YouTube drop out again?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Is what it is. We're wrapping up anyway, so I don't care. Guys, take care of yourselves. We love you. We'll see y'all next. Jack, thank you for joining me, my friend.
Oh, always glad to be here, dude.
I was going to say that, and then you brought up that we're down on YouTube, and I got distracted. When YouTube goes down on me, wait a second. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great day. Take care of yourselves. We'll see y'all next time.
Bye, everybody.
This is when I sing at the end of the show. Yeah, it's still up on my screen. I don't know why you're.
Oh, it came back up.
Bye, guys.